So the real, I guess, achievement by Iran is this ability to establish a very firm deterrence, because it seems as if, well, what you're describing is the U.S. attempting to dictate the rules for coming war. That is, Israel will be on the sidelines. We bomb a little bit today, and then we'll call it quits by the evening. Essentially, this deterrence would also entail denying the U.S. any escalation control. That is, to choose when to start a war, how the war should be fought, and when it should end. But my what I found interesting, though, is that a lot of America's Arab allies, they do not want to participate in this in any way. That is, they don't want to have their airspace used in an attack. They don't want the U.S. to refuel, or any way that's seen as assisting in the attack on Iran. I think it's especially Saudi Arabia and the UAE, but but also other Gulf states have expressed similar concern. Is this about the fear of retaliation? Is it the assumption that Iran cannot be defeated, or are they worried about a goal of essentially destroying, balkanizing Iran, what it would mean for them? Or how can we, I guess, understand this restraint from the Arabs or the Gulf states? Is this just a deterrence?
No, I think there are a number of elements. One element is, I mean, of course, the closure of Hormuz would have great impact on Gulf states whose vessels traverse. Theoretically, they could get passage by not being involved in any attack or colluding in any attack. But I think it's more than that. There are two other factors that are changing. The first is Saudi Arabia has taken a quite strongly anti-Israeli line, seeing Israel as a threat to Saudi Arabia, its ambitions. After all, Greater Israel incorporates parts of Saudi Arabia. And they're seeing Israel's sort of plan is to have a sort of weakened, balkanized, if you like, a region. And so they are becoming very much antagonistic to Israel. There was an extraordinary speech by the previous head of intelligence in Saudi Arabia, when he described the Israelis in no uncertain terms as genocidal and killing Arabs and others. So I think this is an important element, the sense that, you know, Israel is not their friend. Israel is a destabilizing factor in the Middle East, deeply, in a way that they would have never believed a few years ago, but now see the sort of, you know, that there are no restraints. The attack on Qatar, the attack on Lebanon, the attack on Yemen. They see, you know, there's no restraints. There's no one there to help save us from Israel. So there's been a change in mood, and the vibes are different, shall we say. But I think the other thing is something which is not much seen, but is that in Iraq and elsewhere, the Majar, the leaders, the Shias, and the people that are emulated and followed, have warned that if there is an attack on the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, then there will be a calling of there will be a fatwa of mandatory global jihad against Israel and America. And that this has been also signed off by Sistani, who has a huge standing in the region, beyond just the Shia, by the way. And also all of the other clerics. And many people, leaders of Hashab and others, have signed martyrdom certificates or declarations that they would like to become martyrs in this cause. Now, that I think is unnerving the Gulf states. I mean, Bahrain is 80% Shia. Even Saudi Arabia has about 13% Shia. Kuwait, all of them are anxious. They're seeing this as the possibility, if this is a big war, that this would set off the equivalent of the Arab Spring. I mean, a different, not exactly as Arab Spring was, but if you like, that sort of turmoil and popular sentiment that might threaten their own emirates and kingdoms and so on. So I think that's another a big factor. However, going back to what you asked, what is Trump's objective? Well, what is happening at the moment in Israel is that his objectives have been upended and inverted. When Netanyahu went to Mar-a-Lago on the 28th of December, he presented the new Israeli doctrine. And the new Israeli doctrine was, listen, we're not saying anything about the nuclear issue. We're not here to tell you that Iran is going to get a nuclear weapon in the next few weeks. We're not here to say, oh dear, the bomb. No, what we are telling you is something much more serious. That these 7 months since June, Iran has not merely repaired, replaced, and enhanced its defense system. They have changed the whole paradigm of defense, of the umbrella of defense. It is a completely new paradigm, and it is a huge threat, including in the nuclear field, because it is so threatening to us that even if we had intelligence that Iran was about to make a nuclear weapon, we could do nothing about it. So what you have to do, Mr. Trump, is destroy the ballistic weapons capability of Iran. And so when Witkoff was just been talking to Netanyahu, was in Israel talking to Netanyahu, they had a long meeting, and Netanyahu insisted, no, we don't want you to negotiate on the nuclear issue. We want an attack on the ballistic missile system, on the Iran's missile system. So we will actually prevent and oppose any agreement on the nuclear issue, if you have it. Now, I'm not sure there will be one, because the preconditions Trump has outlined are unacceptable. I mean, the first one is that Iran would have to hand over all of its enriched uranium stocks completely. Secondly, zero enrichment forevermore. Thirdly, severe limitations on its missile systems. And fourthly, severing all links with Hezbollah, Hamas, and all of its other allies in the region. So, those are non-negotiable, largely. The Iranians have said, look, we will talk about the nuclear issue first, and only the nuclear issue. And then if that is settled, we can perhaps move to other tiers of negotiation. They don't say what, but they're saying, no, it has to be the nuclear issue. You can't start talking about ballistic missiles or anything else if we can't settle this first nuclear issue. I ask you, is Trump prepared to offer the ending of all sanctions on Iran, to go back to what was the JCPOA of 2018? I can't see that being seen as a win in Trump's, sort of psychology, which wants to present him as strong, as always coming out the winner, and the other person being losers, whom he despited. But that doesn't sound like, to me, that it's going to come out to Trump as a winner. So as things stand, it's not clear what's going to happen. People are talking all the time saying, oh, negotiations are starting. This is not true. What has happened is negotiations about opening negotiations have started, which is a completely different thing than actually the solid negotiation stuff. So there are negotiations about whether it's possible. What are the parameters? What are the limitations? What is going to be the framework for negotiation? Yes, that is happening, but the actual negotiations haven't started and may not happen.